Hi and Assalamualaikum Doctor. I am Nur Farisha. Today, me and my group members Nur Afifa, Sarah Irdina and Vanessa Clara are going to present our findings on our research. Based on our observation towards the Malaysian education sector, we noticed that there are three main factors that contribute to the education gap between urban and rural schools. They are school facilities, teacher quality and socio-economic status. Therefore, we have conducted a survey through Google Forms for teachers to fill in to see their views on this matter. We use both qualitative and quantitative methods to find the answers to our research questions. There are 4 questions that we have prepared in our Google Forms, and we have received a total of 23 responses. Question 1 and 2 are quantitative, while question 3 and 4 are qualitative. Our first research objective is to identify the main contributing factors to the gap between rural and urban schools. For question 1, our research question is, what is the main contributing factor that affects the education gap between urban and rural schools? For this question, we are looking at the teacher's perception towards the biggest factor that contribute to the education gap. We have provided several factors for them to choose and one empty answer column for them to fill in case there are other reasons that the teachers think is the biggest contributing factor to the education gap. From all the responses that we have received, school facilities has been the most voted factor with a total of 11 respondents, followed by socio-economic status 10 respondents, teacher quality 1 respondent, and another 1 respondent voted for both school facilities and socio-economic status. From the data that we have collected for our first findings, school facilities has been the most contributing factor to the education gap between urban and rural schools in Malaysia.
I'm Sarah. Now we will be looking on the overall scaling result of the factors given. Before I begin, short forms used are SF for school facilities, SC for socioeconomic status, TQ for teacher qualities, and lastly would be others. Let's look at the bar graph provided here. The vertical line represents the total number of respondents, while the horizontal line represents the score stated on our Google form. We managed to receive 23 respondents altogether, and to understand better, our scale is starting from score 1 to 5, from worst to excellent. Firstly, we have 8.7% with 2 respondents voted for school facilities and other. The others written here is referring to both school facilities and socio-economic status. Score 2 obtained 13% with 3 respondents voted for school facilities and socio-economic status. Majority of the respondents voted for skill 3 with 30.4%, which equals to 7 respondents voted for school facilities and socio-economic status. The second highest number of respondents fall on percent, totaling to 6 respondents voted for school facilities and socio-economic status respectively. Lastly, we have 21.7%, the third highest, with 5 respondents. 3 of them voted for socio-economic status, 1 for school facilities, and the last for teacher qualities. To conclude, we have score 3 with the most number of respondents. 4 of them voted for school facilities and the other 3 voted for socio-economic status. From here we can see that all the respondents agree that neither both factors show great progression in their particular field. Thank you.
Thank you, Farisha and Sarah. Now let's take a look at the third question. This third question is referring to the first two questions, which it explains about the reasons behind the chosen factors that have been made by the respondents. By the data I collected, I found that most of the respondents, which are 9 of 23 of them, do agree that poor school facilities is the main contributor to the education gap between urban and rural school areas. Why? Okay, so some of them do mention that rural school do not have enough facilities that can assist them to have or to reach proper education. For example, some of them do not have laboratory, which is considered compulsory for experiments in science classes. The respondents also do mention that they still be using the old table and chairs that are so uncomfortable to begin with. They also do not have stable connection that can aid to the teaching and learning session. Next, socio-economic status. It is the second leading factor, which received 8 over 23 responses. Many respondents do agree that socio-economic status has been such an issue to the education gap because these unfortunate families are not able to fund the school for better education for their kids. They also cannot afford to pay for tuition fee after class hour. Low income has basically narrowing the doors of opportunities for them. Other than that, teachers' quality. Okay, only 2 of the respondents are responding to this factor. According to them, teachers are the main source of education. Hence, the quality of teachers play a big role in achieving the aim purpose in education. Not only that, one of them do mention that the poor school facilities is the reason why teachers' qualities drop. Lastly, I collected some of the other responses which do not fall under any of the mentioned factors before. Okay, so based on the observation made, I found that geographical issue, poor mindset, timing, peer pressure, funding, and parents' awareness towards education also some of the reasons that contributed to the education gap. All in all, to support the most chosen factor, most respondents agree that poor school facilities contribute to the most contribute the most to the education gap between urban and rural schools. Okay, so according to LAM as 2014, smaller schools tend to have fewer resources, are often less able to employ specialist staff or offer specialist subjects or programs, have to use composite multi-grade classes, provide fewer opportunities for the professionals' development, have more difficulty recruiting and retaining teachers, provide less support for special needs students, and offer fewer options for courses. Thank you.
The table shows the solutions suggested by 11 out of 23 respondents who have voted school facilities as a main factor. Ways to improve school facilities. We have come up with 3 themes, and the first one would be the government's role. 8 out of 11 respondents agree that the government must play their role to improve the school facilities, mainly in rural schools. The respondent mentioned the government need to pay more attention. For example, government need to pay more attention to the rural area. 2 respondents stated government give more fund. The government should give more fund to rural schools so that every student can experience equal quality of education. One respondent mentioned government to be fair. The government need to be fair in terms of budget distribution and focus more on the rural schools by providing new technologies. Make rural schools receive the same treatment as urban schools. One respondent mentioned bring the issue to government, and one respondent mentioned the government to be extra concerned, and one respondent mentioned the government needs to provide advanced facilities. And the second theme would be school management's action. One respondent mentioned school management alert. The school management, principal and teachers have to alert about this issue and up to date to the learning system nowadays. The last and the third theme would be general ideas. One respondent stated the involved authorities. The involved authority need to take quick action to the issue. One respondent mentioned build a science room. Based on the 3 themes, we have found the correlation between Team 1, the government's role, and Team 2, which is the school management. The government play a major role in narrowing the education gap between urban and rural schools in terms of school funding, and providing more facility, which later the school management should take a quick action to address the issue to the government, especially the Education Ministry. Our interpretation supported by Theobald 2005 that stated, rural schools often receive less attention from the government in its form agenda as the Office of Education is usually located in urban areas. Conclusion of research. Our objective is achieved. We can conclude that school facilities is the major contributing factor to the gap between urban and rural schools. Therefore, to prevent the situation from getting worse, the government should take quick action and play their role effectively, as mentioned in Malaysia Education Blueprint 2013-2025. We realize the importance of education equity and equality. Thank you very much.